Welcome to the 2022 USA Lacrosse Boys Lacrosse Rules and Officiating video. This video was created to prepare and educate the USA Lacrosse community for the upcoming lacrosse season and is for educational purposes. To set the agenda for this presentation, we will cover several important aspects of the game. We will also discuss the committee's points of emphasis. Points of emphasis. The committee has addressed the following items as the points of emphasis for the 2022 season. Starting in January of 2022 at the 10U level and below, a boys field cross specification or girls field cross specification is legal for play. However, regardless of which stick is used, players must still adhere to the pocket construction and depth testing requirements for boys lacrosse. This change allows developing areas more flexibility with their lacrosse purchases and programming for the youngest levels of play. Once a player enters 12U or above, they must have a cross that confirms the rules of boys lacrosse. As a reminder, the illegal cross rules are only enforceable for players 12U and older. At 10U and below, any illegal cross should be removed from the game until it is corrected, and no time-serving penalty should be given to a player. As a reminder, protective cups or palate protectors are required equipment. It is a player's responsibility to wear the right equipment. Officials will not verify if players are wearing a protective cup or pelvic protector during an equipment check. Each year, USA Lacrosse publishes an equipment guide that outlines the equipment needed to play lacrosse. The guide provides leagues, parents, coaches, and players with helpful information on all of the equipment required in boys lacrosse. For more information, visit the USA Lacrosse website. Beginning January 2022, all non-goalies must wear shoulder pads designed for lacrosse that are certified to the NOCSI ND 200 standard by the Safety Equipment Institute and contain the logo shown on the screen. This implementation date follows the requirement for goalkeepers that went into effect in 2021. USA Lacrosse encourages all players to purchase and use the equipment in advance of 2022. Commotio cordis is a rare but serious medical condition caused by low-impact trauma to the chest. This impact can cause the heart to change its normal rhythm and lead to sudden cardiac arrest. For additional resources or to review a list of frequently asked questions on the new protection, visit the USA Lacrosse website. USA Lacrosse and NFHS work collaboratively on the rules each year to serve over 92% of the boys lacrosse population in the US. Both organizations strive for the best experience for all participants. Although the rules are nearly the same, some modifications are made for safety and to benefit the development of youth athletes. The following points are some key differences that officials should know between high school and youth lacrosse. The level of contact in a high school game is not always safe for a youth lacrosse game. For this reason, if officials feel a player lowered his head or shoulder with the force and intent to put the other player on the ground, it should result in a penalty. Targeting fouls are an automatic ejection in youth lacrosse. In high school, it is a possible ejection. Any player who intentionally takes aim at the head/neck of an opponent or takes aim at a player in a defenseless position with the intent to make violent contact must be ejected from a youth lacrosse game. Fouling out in a youth lacrosse game happens when a player has 3 personal fouls or 5 minutes of personal foul penalty time. And in high school games, players foul out when they accumulate 5 minutes of personal foul penalty time. Player contact is only legal within 3 yards of a loose ball in youth lacrosse versus 5 yards in a high school game. The distance ensures athletes are playing the ball or helping their team to gain possession of a loose ball. One-handed stick checks are illegal in youth lacrosse and should result in at least a 1-minute personal foul for a slash when observed by officials. Finally, during a slow whistle situation, the play ends when the ball hits the ground, except on a shot. Small-sided competition is one of the core values of the athlete development model. It has gained popularity at the international level, developing areas, and for youth athletes at the 10U level and below. In youth lacrosse, when the field size and number of players are reduced, it creates a simpler environment for players to learn the fundamentals of the game. In addition to these changes, there are some key logistical and safety differences. When players are facing off on a small-sided field, the positioning of players and rules for possession are slightly different than in a regulation game. The key differences on a face-off are: each team must place 2 players behind each goal line extended, and these players are released when the official blows their whistle. Goalkeepers are confined to their crease and must wait until after possession is gained to leave the crease. Players may only play the ball and may not play the man before possession is gained. When a face-off occurs and a team gains possession, the team must attempt a pass before making a shot on goal. If a team gains possession on a face-off and immediately shoots on goal, it will result in an immediate turnover. This rule does not apply to every possession change that occurs during a game, only to the face-off. Players can utilize legal hold, legal pushes, and boxing out to defend against their opponents instead of body checking, which is prohibited. Players should utilize poke checks, lift checks, and controlled stick checks. Any downward stick check that starts above the player's shoulders, or chopping wood as it is commonly called, is illegal. No man down or man up penalty situation. When a player commits a time-serving foul, teams remain at even strength, but the player that committed the foul will still leave the field for the penalty and may not return until the opposing team scores a goal or the penalty time given by an official expires. Major rule changes for 2022. The following section discusses the major rule changes and clarifications for the 2022 season. Rule 3.2, Score Differential, Running Clocks, and Mercy Rule. During the second half, once the goal differential reaches 12 goals or more, and starting with the whistle to resume play, the game shall have a running game clock. The clock will remain running until the end of the game, even if the goal differential reverts to less than 12 goals. Also, during the second half, once the goal differential reaches 12 goals or more, the team's head coach that is trailing in the game shall have the choice to start with possession of the ball at midfield or face-off. If the score reverts to 6 goals or less, normal face-off rules will apply again. Rule 4.3, Facing Off. USA Lacrosse and the NFHS felt that the harmonization of the face-off was a positive rule change for all levels of lacrosse. The overriding principle of the changes to the face-off is for players to play the ball. There are several changes for the 2022 season that have been adopted for the rules. Officials shall place the ball down first, so players are aware of the face-off location. Players must stand for the face-off and remain standing as officials give the set command. At 10U, officials can allow a player taking a face-off to drop to a knee if needed. All fingers of both hands shall be gloved and wrapped around the cross. The crosshead and the gloved hands must be touching the ground. The hand closer to the throat of the head of the cross shall be in palm-up position, and the other hand is in a palm-down position. This is known as a standing neutral grip. A player with both palms facing the ground is not a legal face grip. This is known as the motorcycle grip. A face-off player's first move must be to play the ball, and they may not immediately body check their opponent. Violations of this rule will result in an immediate turnover or potentially a time-serving personal foul if the contact is violent. USA Lacrosse would like to remind players, coaches, and officials about the following points of emphasis for the face-off. The overriding principle is for both players to play the ball. Clamping is allowed on the initial move only and must be moved, raked, or directed immediately. Immediately is defined as within 1 step. The use of helmet-to-helmet contact during a face-off is a concern. Officials need to determine if any potential violations occur when a player uses helmet-to-helmet contact to gain an advantage or contact their opponent forcefully. Legal stick contact can occur to an opponent's stick or gloved hands wrapped around the crosse. Any contact above the cuff of the player's glove should be a technical foul for an illegal hold or a personal foul if the contact is violent. New for the 2022 season, the crosse and glove shall rest along the center line. All fingers of both hands shall be gloved and wrapped around the crosse. The crosse head and the gloved hands shall be touching the ground. The hand closer to the throat of the crosse shall be in a palm-up position. The officials will place the ball on the ground, indicating the face-off location, and instruct the players to prepare the face-off by saying down. Players shall get into the face-off position as quickly as possible and be standing as they get into position for the face-off. The crosses and the gloves shall rest on the ground parallel to each other and be up to but not touching the center line. All fingers of both hands shall be wrapped around the crosse. The crosse head and gloved hands shall be in contact with the ground. The hand closer to the crosse head must be in a palm-up position and may not touch any part of the crosse head. Both the hands and the feet of each player shall be to the left of the throat of the crosse, and each player shall be positioned so their entire body is left of the throat of their crosse. If the players are not positioned properly, the officials may adjust the player's positioning, including the crosse, to ensure the face-off will be conducted fairly. Once the official is satisfied with the positioning of the players and their crosses, he shall instruct the players to remain motionless by saying, "Set." Officials may have one hand on the crosses when the set command is given. After the set command, the official shall back out and blow the whistle to start play. The whistle cadence will vary for every face-off.
Hey guys, this is Jerry Raganese, Greg Arenlian, FACEOFF Academy, trying to help out here with USA Lacrosse. Just going over the fundamentals of the new standing neutral grip only face-off rules, both at Federation Youth and High School, trying to mimic similar to the NCAA rules. So, when we say standing neutral grip, it means you can't go pronated or double over motorcycle grip anymore. The right hand has to be switched over. No, you're not allowed to hold it like this. We've had people ask, okay? So the right hand has to be supinated grip or underhand grip, okay? Everything still has to be off the plastic. You still have to have a contrasting color tape. All the same stuff is applying. Now, when we talk about the fundamentals of the stance, you can't have a knee down. So you have to be standing. And how do we do that? We have our left foot up to the line, right toe points at the ball, and then you bend over and put your elbows inside of your knees. Those are the only 3 things you really need to know from the start. As you get more advanced, you'll start to lean your weight more to the right, all the same stuff that we teach at the FACEOFF Academy. Now, when you're lined up, you have to have your hands completely wrapped around the stick. Gloves have to be touching the ground. Everything, the stick has to be up to but not touching the line. Stick's perpendicular, straight up and down. You're gonna match the top of your scoop to the stop or the ball stop of your opponent, so it'll be top to stop. The ball will be down first, and the referee will tell you to go down. So once you're down, You're lined up correctly. Now remember, the neutral zone is anything where the plastic touches to the right. So the throat of your stick and to the right is the neutral zone. So you can't have your foot behind the head. You can't have your helmet over top of the column, which is the square around where the sticks and the ball are lined up. By rule, anything can hang over the midline though, okay? So once you're down, the referee will bring his hand over. He'll either touch the sticks or he'll hover over the top and say set. He'll back out. Once he blows the whistle, you have to approach the ball. And what that means is I either have to be actively trying to rake or clamp the ball, or if my opponent goes to clamp the ball, after I go for it, I can then go for a counter. Now a counter means that I can lift his stick, or I can make contact lifting from the glove down. Anything above the glove, and I get his arm, any of this is illegal. I also can't make contact with the head of his stick. So I can't pin it down, I can't use my glove, and I obviously can't grab the ball with my hand, okay? After he makes the clamp, or after he decides he's going to redirect the ball, it's defined as one step. He gets one step to then pop the ball out. So he can't clamp and then pitter-patter his feet around for multiple steps. That's called withholding. He also can't pick the ball up at the back of his stick. So when he picks the ball up at the back of his stick, it can't tabletop like that. That's also withholding. It's got to come out in one clean motion. So a legal face-off would look like this. Down, everything's lined up correctly, set, whistle, clamps, go ahead and clamp, okay? And then he redirects the ball immediately after he gains possession of it, okay? So those are the basics of the face-off, from why we teach the techniques we do, all the way up to a clean face-off. I hope this was useful. I want to thank USA Lacrosse for coming on here with the rules committee and everybody trying to get this right. Hopefully this is helpful for not just the players, but also the parents and the referees.
Rule 4.4, contact to face-off players. The committee felt that clarification needed to be made on how wing players can legally contact face-off players that are down battling for the ball during a face-off. Language has been added to the rules that state, when the whistle sounds to start play, the players in the wing areas are released but must avoid body checking the face-off players battling while down in a defenseless position for control of the ball in the initial face-off spot. This clarification avoids body checks to face-off players that can be in a vulnerable position. Should an illegal body check occur to a player in a vulnerable position, it must be penalized as a minimum of 2 minutes non-releasable. Rule 4.24, officials' timeouts because of lost equipment. Another situation has been clarified so officials are aware of when to suspend play because of lost equipment. If a player loses any mandatory personal equipment when in a scrimmage area, while they have possession of the ball, or a player is apparently injured, play shall be suspended immediately. If a player not in possession of the ball legally loses mandatory equipment and no other players are in an immediate vicinity, then the play may continue. Finally, play will also in immediate vicinity ended if the goalkeeper's cross or any other mandatory equipment becomes broken or malfunctions. If a stoppage occurs due to lost equipment, the team with possession or entitled to possession at the time of the whistle shall retain possession. If neither team has possession at the time of the whistle, the ball shall be awarded according to the alternate possession rule. Rule 5.5.13, misconduct fouls. Only in youth lacrosse games, officials at their discretion may now add or append a 5-minute misconduct penalty to the end of a time-serving penalty. Officials are encouraged to use misconduct fouls for abusive officials or other inappropriate behaviors by players. The overriding principle of misconduct fouls are: misconduct penalties are only for players only. Players cannot be given a misconduct without having caused a time-serving penalty. Misconduct penalty time begin when a player's time for a technical or personal foul is released. Misconduct penalty time is served for its entire duration. Misconduct penalty time does not count toward fouling out or ejections. As is the case with all time serving penalties, any misconduct penalty remaining at the end of the period shall carry over into subsequent periods. Rule 7.8. Scoring plays in progress during slow whistle situations. The committee has removed the term imminent and replaced it with a scoring play in progress as it relates to slow whistle situations. In most cases, a second defensive foul will stop a play immediately, but officials can extend a play if a scoring play is in progress. The following criteria has been added to the rules so officials can determine if a scoring play is in progress. The ball is in the attacking team's offensive half of the field. The ball is continuously advanced toward the goal. When a team advancing toward the goal that takes the ball behind goal line extended is no longer advancing toward the goal. An in-progress scoring play can start from behind goal line extended, but once the ball is brought above goal line extended, it may not go back. A team is only allowed one shot attempt on goal, or any other reason that normally stops a slow whistle situation, which in youth lacrosse includes a ball hitting the ground, except on a shot. USA Lacrosse would like to thank you for watching the 2022 Boys Youth Rules Interpretation. For more information about the rules, interpretations, memos, or more resources, visit the USA Lacrosse website.